So I have the opportunity now to spend about 10 minutes to describe to you and show you a little bit of this new product that we're working on, that we're really excited about and we think is in particular relevant to you guys. So situational awareness. This is a term that we know and love and we use a lot, right? And it means some things to different people, and it's kind of relative to whatever job you're performing and what you're doing. But I think we can all agree that in this new era, that situational awareness and collaboration is absolutely critical. And we've seen it in all the presentations over the last day and a half. So ArcGIS already supports situational awareness in a number of different ways, and many of you are already using this. We've seen it already in your presentations so far. You can take advantage of Portal for ArcGIS to create information products, to gain insight from lots of different data from different sources and to share it in different ways with the people who need it. Whether it's a briefing to the commander, whether it's a real-time view of the situation that you can monitor in a dashboard, or maybe understanding the impact or understanding where the local resources are after an incident occurs, or maybe even getting information out to the public. Also, this can be extended out to workers in the field as well. So those workers in the field can have the information that they need when they need it. They can also use some really slick tools that we have now to gather data and information, to collect that information, and then bring it back up to that command center or the headquarters to make available to everybody to use, and then create additional insight into that, from that information. But really, it's primarily a bidirectional flow of information, right? You get the latest data down to the field workers, they collect it, and they bring it back up to the command center. We really wanted to take a look at how we could extend that more to teams of people working together. So teams of people who are working towards a common task. Their mission is this common task. It could be responding to an unplanned incident or event, or it could be supporting a planned event, like what John was just talking about before the break. But these are particular to the industries that you represent here today in the national security and public safety areas. And so this is what we talk about when we say mission. It's that task with which the team of people are performing. And that's why we named the product ArcGIS Mission. So the first thing we want to look at is how we can really enable communication and collaboration between the team members in the field. And so this can be very critical, making sure that these people have the information that they need in order to do their job. The kind of information that we're talking about here is to be able to see where your location is on the map, but also being able to see where your other team members' locations are on the map as well when you need it. Also the ability to chat with them, to communicate with them, to share points or sketches on the map with each other, or to take photographs or videos and share them with each other as well. So this kind of situational awareness information is critical. But also then the ability to take this information and share it back up to the command center so that everybody else or whoever else in the organization who has a need to know that information has access to it, and they can start acting on it, right? And they can monitor that situation as it's executing. But we didn't really want to stop there at that execution phase of the mission. We want to make sure that we provide more tools for actually managing the mission as it occurs as well. So what we really mean by mission management is the ability to create a mission and to provision the data and all the resources that are needed for that mission. So this pre-mission phase of defining those resources and making sure they're available to all the people on the team that are part of that mission. And then during the execution phase, yes, it's primarily about monitoring the mission as it's executing, but it's also about actively participating in that mission. So actively monitoring that mission, chatting with the people in the field, also providing markup or resources that they need while it's happening. So that's kind of the mission execution phase. But then once the mission's ended, having access to all of that mission data, that mission information that you can then review for future purposes. And this is a lot like what John was just talking about, this kind of continuation into daily operations or maybe the next mission that occurs next. So these three phases of the mission are part of all of this. And these are essentially the guiding principles that we're using into building this new product. So what is this new product? So it's called ArcGIS Mission. The first thing that we're introducing is this new concept of a mission to our geoinformation model. And the mission is really the construct that defines what it is. So it has a name, it has an extent, it has a list of people who are members of that mission, it has the map that they're all going to use, it has additional material that they all use, maybe PDFs or spreadsheets or documents that might be relevant to them. That's this definition of the mission. And this is an ArcGIS Enterprise. We will also support ArcGIS Online in the future as well. Then we're building a focused web app called ArcGIS Mission Manager. And this brings to the user that mission management capabilities that I described already, these three phases, from the creation and the provisioning of the data before the mission starts executing, to that active mission monitoring and participation while it's going on, and then to that review and analysis phase afterwards. So that's what that web application is for. And we don't expect that the person that's using that application is a normal ArcGIS user, is the person who knows how to build those beautiful maps that are used as part of the mission, or the other information products that are used as well. We expect that they're working very closely with other people within the organization who know how to build those products. So this app is focused on the mission itself. We're also building a mobile app called ArcGIS Mission Responder, and it's for iOS and Android. And it also has a very focused purpose. It's really for sharing and collaboration between team members in the field while they're working. It really provides a support function to what the actual mission is that this person is performing in the field. So the mission is not to look at the app and to see where everybody is. The mission is to do something else. But if you need to share and collaborate, you have that app ready to use when you need it. And then there's ArcGIS Mission Server. This is really the piece that's bringing everything together. It's the piece that's allowing the sharing of these small messages between each of the mission team members. So it does the brokering of that information between them. So if you want to send just one message to one other person, then it does the routing of that message to that person. Or if you want to broadcast it to everybody, then it can broadcast it to everybody. So that's one of the purposes of the server component. But the other purpose is that it can take all of that data and persist it in an enterprise data store. And this is incredibly powerful. So now you can capture all of this mission information that's happening, and people who need to watch it while it's happening can do that. They can analyze it, they can act on it during mission execution phase, but also afterwards you have it persisted in a way now that you could play it back, you can analyze it, you can learn lessons from it, and this is really where the real power of ArcGIS comes into play. So if the mission responder devices lose a connection to the server, it still keeps on working. So the primary purpose here for the app is that it can work in a disconnected environment very smoothly. So if you have access to another ad hoc network like a mesh network, you can still continue to send messages in a peer-to-peer way to your other team members. And finally, we're building a native API as part of our runtime SDKs, which allows developers and system integrators to integrate this mission concept into their own systems and solutions, and the ability to send peer-to-peer messages. And this is also really powerful because the runtime SDKs allow you to build solutions for all platforms, whether it's Windows or Linux or mobile platforms like Android and iOS. So it's a real extensibility point there for this mission concept. Now, I wanted to show you a demonstration of this, but as you can imagine, it's a little hard to demonstrate, for one person to demonstrate, because I'm not a team of people, and I don't have a team of people up here with me. So what I've done is I've taken some screenshots, and I've made a little animation here, and I'm going to walk you through it really quickly. This is going to move fairly quickly. Also, this is still in development, so it's probably going to change a little bit by the time you actually see it released, so bear that in mind as well, but hopefully it gives you a good idea of what we're building. So as you can see here, I'm playing the part of the mission manager. I'm signed into mission manager on the left-hand side. And then we have John and Darren, who are our field members who are using the ArcGIS Mission Responder app. First thing that's going to happen is that I've signed in to the app. I'm going to create a mission. So I create a mission. The primary thing I need to do is give it a name and an extent. And then I can hit go. And it lays down all the services, it creates the groups, it does everything it needs to do to make that, to create that mission within ArcGIS Enterprise. And I have a little view here of what that mission contains, which is nothing at the moment. So now I can either put this mission into active phase, I can assign some members to it and get them started working, or I can take a little bit of time, if I have it, to define what it is and build the maps and associate those resources. So here I'll do something like that. I'll give it a nice thumbnail, a better description. I can allocate the members to the mission itself. I can create teams within the mission of people. I can do a little bit with the map. I can add some layers. I can configure it a little bit if I want to. And I can also add additional materials, these PDFs or spreadsheets. And once that's done, then I can go back and see, okay, I have a mission. It's got 8 members, 2 teams, and 2 additional materials. And what I neglected to show in the previous slide, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, it says the status is active. Well, before that, it said the status was draft. So this draft phase is the pre-mission phase when you're defining it. So now the mission is active, it's ready to go. People can start participating. And I can see that there's a number of missions that I have access to, or that I'm the actual owner of in my list here. So now we're ready for the responders to do their job. So the first thing is that John's going to sign into his app, and he's going to see what missions he's a member of. He's going to select that Redlands earthquake mission, which I just created. He can see some maps that are available for him to take offline. He can download those onto his device. He can see his list of contacts, who's in the mission with him. He can see that Darren and Carrie are online right now, so he knows he can communicate with them. He can see the additional materials, download those onto his device so he has them available. And then he's ready to go. Meanwhile, Darren's going to do the same thing. He can sign into his app. He can, and then he can choose to join the mission straight away. So he's just jumped straight on in, whereas John spent a little bit of time looking at the mission and downloading resources ahead of time. So now we're at this point where we have John and Darren who have joined the mission, and then we have me looking at the mission in Mission Manager, and we can see each other's locations on the map. One thing to note here is you'll see on the right-hand side, if you can read it, there's this mission feed. And it's in each one of the apps. It's at the bottom of the Responder app, and it's at the right-hand side of the Mission Manager app. And the mission feed is the thing that kind of keeps track of everything that's happening of the mission as it goes along. So this is where we'll see some of the activity now in the next few bits. So John is going to click on Darren on the map, and he can start chatting with him straight away. So I ask him what his status is. And that shows up in Darren's mission feed. Now Darren can click on that in his mission feed and respond to John and say, well, I'm assessing the damage in building Q. And then we see that show up in John's mission feed and my mission feed in the Mission Manager. At this point, John can click on that. Oh, I forgot the other step. So Darren just took a picture. He dropped the point on the map and he took a picture. And he sent that to John. And so John gets that in his mission feed. So he sees, you can see there's a point on the map now. You can click on that, get access to that photo, and see what that damage is in building Q. And so we can see that now in the mission feed from Mission Manager as well. The other thing that John can do is he can start a chat group with just his team. So you can have these chat groups with either an ad hoc set of people or with the team that you're on. And then, meanwhile, Darren can perform some other functions, such as querying the map data, understanding what location he's at, doing a quick measurement, those sorts of things. So that's a really quick and simple view of what we're building here in terms of Mission Manager and the ArcGIS Mission Responder. Hopefully you get a little bit of an idea. We are planning on releasing this as part of ArcGIS Enterprise 10.8, which is due in January 2020. So about 6 months' time. So we're gearing up now to head into a beta phase and then releasing it in January. If you're interested, you can go to this URL here, go.esri.com/mission. You can sign up with your name and your email address, and we'll send you some notifications whenever we have more information about the product. Also, if you have more questions, make sure to head down to the Public Safety Showcase at the Expo during the conference, and there'll be some people there who can speak to it, and we can get you some more information. But stay tuned next year. Thanks.